Attention gamers. There's a fat disgusting problem for the general population who play League of Legends, and it can be summed up by a little leprechaun flat out missing his pride pen of a stun and then proceeding to one-shot 2016 Tyler 1 anyways. While the marksman is on the ground, he is epileptically celebrating because for the last 80 literal patches the highest win rate champs in the bot lane are not even bot laners, and before some turbo virgin muff drying Reddit mod can point out it's because they are played way less than the ADCs, I'd like to use that exact argument as to why Riot hasn't and will never fix the problem that these champs are just better than ADCs at their own role in solo queue, which has to feel like a kick in the Draven dick. You see, after trying to play standard marksman and climbing slower than an armless goose, I made the swap to these champs, and that's why I am the evil Veigar that can't hit shit, but it doesn't matter. I am no longer the Draven who is so tilted he just wants the pain to end, as he is 0-9 because his bard support abandoned him in lane. I am the same ADC player that has the positional awareness of a burnt toaster strudel, but now I have the CC to keep myself alive long enough to 4-leaf clover the absolute crap out of their stupid shitter playing a marksman through his barrier. Anytime he thinks he can make up for the bot lane Grand Canyon, I remind him that being dead half the game while I shoved waves under his tower has him 3 years younger than the rest of us, and unlike a marksman, my core items actually provide health and shields and defensives in addition to just damage, so I can survive situations that a right-click chick could only wet dream of. That means I have over 30% more health than this axe-juggling jag-off, and his average lifespan in my presence is about 0.4 of a second, to the point where his whole team wants to report him all because he played a marksman like he was brainwashed to think is meta in solo queue, while I also do his job of taking towers better than he does now too. Think of it this way: you really want to climb properly in ranks, so you spend your time in queue reading up on the patch notes, studying the meta and checking what champs are strong right now. You patiently watch to see what they pick, and then you use your tools to see what is good against them, and you pick their top counter marksman. You select the top runes that are designed by data to be good into this exact matchup. The game starts and you see the top build and what the pros are doing to succeed, and you are mentally preparing for the fact that your support is trash auto-filled and in a bad mood. You hope that's not true, but she dies 3 straight times in the first 6 minutes of the game. But you want to climb properly, so you mute her like you've been taught, knowing that she is in a bad mood and you don't want to get tilted reading whatever she is typing here at you. That said, she's still a terrible autofilled support who won't peel, and you picked a marksman instead of a champ with self-peel and CC, so you die to a flashing fawn. You stay positive and patiently track that she used her flash, so that the next time she comes down you can see she still doesn't have it, and you can play aggressive knowing that to turn it around. That's cool and all, but you still lost the solo queue support roulette wheel, and a malnourished marksman can't fend for himself in this world, so you are now feeling like that Draven just wanting to get out. You lose and look at a graph that displays your happiness throughout that game along with other endgame metrics. Or you could just be this guy at the top of the dick measuring contest, laugh at the Dravens in the world because you are the one doing this while still using all the tools and helpers I just showed because they are part of Professor, a totally free app that you can get with my link in the description as a way to support my hopefully stealthy ad making skills, so check them out today and thank them for sponsoring today's video. So you already saw the power of playing the dick pimple from Hogwarts. So next it was time for the second best quote-unquote ADC, and this time I was graced with the presence of a singed support. But not to fear, you see, I went to mail order weaponizedscorpions.com before the game, and luckily they had one in stock, so I Apple paid the shit out of that, knowing that would be just what I need to serve their team's Nautilus with one flinging fatality. This was great, but the dude was apparently BFFs with a rat who was fart darting us into oblivion, and I'm thinking earth to the full fucking health singed watching this happen. Maybe don't let me be the one to put my ass on the line to turn on this 3v1, but eventually he finished his popcorn, stopped watching and completed the job. Then, as my leaking cocaine chimney of a support is in the shrubs scanning for a Wi-Fi signal, we decide to hit Anchor Andy with the good old flash flip and fire combo, as having a stun and percentage max health damage this early is just a kick in the nuts to any marksman who can merely tickle with auto attacks at this point. But it's not all rainbows and shower sex here, as you can see we had a visitor to deal with right after. It was looking bleak for Singed, and while me popping my own barrier couldn't save him, I could avenge his death by playing Combust the Cuck with the rat right after, who in this case was the cuck. I get back to lane and there's a small midget genocide on the to-do list, but then we see the tin twat calling a cab back to base and we feel bad because we are already shitting on the dude, so we use up our flashes and really all of our cooldowns in an effort to show him a faster way to get back to fountain because we care and that's just who we are. Then I figure we are so ahead, let's get a little cheeky by being a little sneaky, and while the initial surprise doesn't go quite as well as I had planned, I have an ult that is the perfect hot potato themed party game to turn around the evening, as both of these shit stains are left burning more than an AIDS-ridden genital, and a poorly executed 2v2 still turns out to be suboptimal for the meta followers in this case. At this point I can't believe I'm saying I'm in love with my singed support as he's prepping a hex flash into Prince, checks that cash combo, but he wants me to bait and I'm all for it until he takes 6 eons to push his button, so now I have some rodent spraying and praying to get a shut done, and thank God my champ has a stun and my items give me 600 more health that a normal marksman would just fantasize about, so I can toss a few flames his way and stay out of the fountain myself. My team is off chasing tail inside lanes, dudes will be dudes, and typically a backside via wanting to go punching status is a death sentence for a right clicker, but I tell her to sit still, scorch a bit, and then I watch and enjoy as she marinates in the trail of flatulent powder coming out of my support. Then instead of using our advantage to push lanes and capture objectives, you have to remember we are more hard stuck than a turd in a man in desperate need of Miralax, so we choose to just fight over nothing in the enemy forest, and I get to enjoy the amenities of close quarter fighting without having to worry about positioning, because I know as long as I get an ult off in a fight like this, I could die at peace knowing I contributed more than say a Draven. And so before a standard marksman could get more than 20% crit, the game is already so one-sided that one of the teams just wants out, and thus the second best bot laner has proven to be noob proof. This leaves just Summoner's Rift Ariana Grande, and you may be wondering why I am seemingly alone in lane, and that's because my support is a Jarvan and he is currently dying in the mid lane, so let's be clear when I say these videos were recorded in the most authentic of solo queue environments. That said, 5 minutes in we get word that some child on her domesticated Bigfoot is trying to eat red meat nearby, so like the vegan police we fly in there to share our judgmental opinions, but the meat eater doubles down and has to deal with the wrath of my queue, which is also conveniently an execute, as some pervy mustache man thinks touching me 4 times is going to fly, but I inform him he better run or I'm going to Me Too the shit out of him because I have witnesses. At this point we all have our ults, some of which are better designed for a 2v2 situation than others, as Flamingo Costume Caitlyn thinks she's in the clear until I hit her with the charming mini pink Ezreal ult. I say throw pillows, have nothing on slow pillows, and then I Q-bomb the disgusting pig of a man who tried to molest me before letting J3's son take him down. We invite a chick who sometimes identifies as a dragon, mostly because we want to make fun of her later for it, but also because 3 people this early jumping on the nepotism hire at the Piltover Police Department just never gets old, as their team's ADC is most definitely not enjoying her time on the Rift. That said, a bit of a situation breaks out where a bunch of people are saying F you to J4, which honestly isn't my business what he said to them, and he can die for all I care, as I'm busy whipping skill shots into every other zip code except for the one where enemies are, but when in doubt I just slap my W to keep the boys healthy and secure the killing spree. Then you'd think it's spring break season with how many horny losers are flocking down south in this one, as I swear everyone and their second cousin Frankie is teleporting down, so I hit Orianna with the reach around and then I pray with Shyvana during her last moments. A plank of gang pops a few celebratory kegs, but we are all like, bro, our jungler just died, read the room, dipshit. I figure all the dumbasses died and went back to lane, but never doubt the ineptitude of a new player who rolls in more out of place than a blunt at a baptism, so I launch a star bomb to teach him a lesson. I'm left lower than the average IQ of a Garen main, but my support is insistent on fighting, so I buckle up hoping to get a flash which works like a charm, and then I reveal to Mustache Man that there are more barriers between me and him having any chance with me than he can imagine. I slurp a few boogers before learning that the after party migrated up a block and apparently Lieutenant Dan is there and making a fool of himself, so I yank his HP like Kick yanks his stream deal, and my KDA is looking dank. At this point my autofill Jarvan support is just as committed as I am to making sure the enemy marksman can't play the game, which thanks to my purple rays of music is working well. The sky starts Cyberpunk 2077 raining on us, but I stay focused on the prize. The prize being another petty quarrel taking place in some shrubbery that looks like the perfect place for me to whip a bunch of shit into. Eventually the icy porn producer pisses off, leaving just Barrel Me Timbers Bobby, who reminds Jarvan that he is still a troll. But I'm not discouraged, I'm on the #1 win rate bot lane champ, and so his confidence of stepping up is matched by me lobbing 2 blue phoenixes out of my pocket to Amber Heard his ass. Team fights are like the peanut to a fed Seraphine's jelly, and my accuracy is like the crust that got cut off and thus don't exist anymore, but it's cool because 1Q has % missing health language in its documentation, which legally means Gangplank is dead as fuck. At one point it looks like I'm gonna get Zamboni'd off the rink of a rift, but I abuse the fact that Nunu doesn't have 3-point turning before eating a Kate ult like it's a dino nugget and backing up to get a dank picture of 4 idiots all getting charmed by a single one of my ults for Instagram. And so with massive CC, slows and shields, executes on cooldown and a sixth sense for when to flash so that Orianna doesn't twist my nipples into oblivion, my allies absolutely stomp a full-blown team fight where the only casualty on our team is the dumbass playing Jarvan support. So in summary, I think solo queue is about playing champs that are self-sufficient, champs that have enough tools in their kit to keep themselves alive when they misplay rather than having to rely on random League of Legends players on this stupid ass game. I do die at the end, but it was at a point where the fries were already in the bag, so I was just limit testing with 3500 gold, and thus if my hard stuck ADC main ass can randomly start playing these mages and win this easy, then I think it's proof that this is a problem, but one that not enough people abuse, so it will never get fixed. Rav out.